Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You are watching live here on the Elite Racing Network for the Elite Racing League's presentation of the SMRI Productions Grand National Series here, the 2021A season. 3 races in the books. We are here for event number 4 of the season. Qualifying has just gotten underway as we speak. It is 5 minutes and 3 laps here around the 1.5 mile Las Vegas Speedway just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. Here as the sun begins to set alongside me, doing productions and color commentary is Jordan Owens. Jordan, we came here to this track last season for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series, and it definitely was one of the better races of the season, especially one of the better 1.5 mile races of the season. Tate Lytle took home the victory there. What are you expecting to see here tonight?
Well, hopefully we see more of the same. I remember last year we had to make some green flag pit stops and kind of mix the field out a little bit. We had some pit road miscues. I think I remember Andrew Rucker having issues getting on pit road. So I think those are things we're going to have to look towards tonight, depending on how the strategy plays out and if we can get some green flag runs again.
Yeah, definitely excited for how this pans out. Should be one of the better 1.5 mile races of the season. I remember we had Chicagoland was one race that went caution-free. Las Vegas here only had 4 cautions last season. Tate Lytle was the winner, and also dominating that race really was Andrew Rucker. Ethan Barrell were guys that were up front for the majority of that race, but Tate Lytle was the winner, and that race was, I believe, the second to last before the beginning of the chase last season. And so far, looking at the leaderboard for qualifying, David Tooker is at the top. Still another 2 minutes remain. And the way qualifying is working out for this series right now is due to the high demand of drivers, where there's currently 45s signed up for this race. We'll have to see how many actually take time. But you'll get 2 attempts at making a lap because there's 3 laps. So you can do 1, cross a line to start lap 2, reset and roll out and run a third and final at speed lap here. So we'll have to see who can take advantage of that and who can qualify well, because the top 25 are locked in. And then if we do have more than 43 starters, we will have a heat race, but that heat race will only be used to assure the starting lineup because it is set on pure qualifying speed. So we'll have to see how everything pans out here, as we got the majority of these 45 cars now have set time.
Ooh, it's so much for a second lap for Tate Lytle. So
yeah, unfortunately there he just wrecked out of turn number 2, and I'm not sure he's looking too hot right now on the leaderboard.
Yeah, he had a bad first lap.
Yeah, so a surprise there from last season's winner here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So Tate Lytle off to a rocky start, going for the back-to-back wins here. Not often you get a track that shows up twice in a row on the schedule, but Las Vegas sure does. But yeah, Lytle sitting toward the back end of the field here, and that was his last attempt at a lap. So Lytle not looking too hot right now when it comes to starting this race in the front.
Yeah, Brandon Key needs a good lap here. His first lap's actually got him in last.
Yeah, he's going to come across the stripe here, and he picks up a little bit to a 31.175. Right now, the pole time is a 30.909 by David Tooker. Brian Blauman actually just put it on the front row in second as the bell rings to end qualifying there. That was a last-second lap by Brian Blauman to put him on the front row. So really strong run there by the number 29 machine. Brian Blauman will start on the outside pole in the 29. But qualifying is now complete. David Tooker on the pole. Another PER car starting third is Matthew Weeks. Ryan Lutz will start 4th, and Gerald Campbell 5th. But right now we have a heat race coming up, and race control is just going over procedures now on how exactly that is going to work. But it, from my understanding, will not be an actual race. So what is happening is David Westergreen and Ethan Riesener will not make the show on speed. Vincent Isabella sneaks in there as the last starter of the race. So we do have 2 DNQs here tonight. David Westergreen in the number 22 car and Ethan Riesener in the number 86. And it sounds like actually that has changed. So I guess Vincent will not make the race, and it's actually going to be Ethan and Vincent. So David Westergreen is in. So some confusion there. But looks like they will make the show in the end. So this heat race will just be paced around. The only reason this heat race exists is to make sure we can fit as many guys as we need to into the session, so everyone has a chance to qualify.
Is this going to be a race where they just stay in position?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Race control is just discussing that with the drivers now. They're saying in the future, if needed, they can change up the format on how things work, but they do this just to assure that everybody will have a chance to qualify. It does work, but they think about possibly changing that as the season rolls on, but they're just going to do single file pacing here for a couple of laps. Also wanted to mention in practice, it was David Tooker who also scored the pole. He was the fastest in practice with 30.892, and that was at the very end of practice. Hank Steinmiller was second fastest in practice, but he did not qualify as well as he put out a practice time. Looks like he's going to start around the 9th position in the 63 car. But definitely a strong field and a really tight field. I mean, the pole time was a 1/10 faster than Chad Thornquist, who qualified around 11th. So it's really tight. I mean, when you have the top 10 well within a tenth of a second of each other.
Yeah, I think we're in for a great race. In practice, at one point I looked and the top 30 was separated by just 2/10. So everyone's coming up with some speed tonight.
Yeah, definitely going to be a tight field, and when this race comes down to it, more than likely a long run is going to be what really scores points for these guys on how well they're going to finish. So we'll see who's got the long run speed, because we're bound to see some long runs during this event here, as the pace truck is about to drop off for this heat race. Again, this is not an actual heat race, it's just to assure the starting lineup is accurate. So we will shortly be going green for our feature event, though. 100 laps, 150 miles again tonight, and it is bound to be a good one here at Las Vegas.
And while these guys set their times, I'd like to mention our friends over at IRTSA. They're having their second race tonight at Iowa, right after ours. We'll go ahead and play an ad for them.
February 15th, 2021. Chapter 2 begins. Redemption. A new beginning. Continued success. Friendships, rivals, fights, heartbreak, sorrow, and joy. The book will write itself, page by page. Along for the Monday, February 15th on Belly Up Sports TV.
All right, so back on the racetrack here, our heat race has just come to an end, so it is now time for our feature event here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Going to get ready to go through the starting lineup here in just one moment. A full field of 43 cars once again for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series, as these cars are starting to hit the grid now.
And we'll go ahead and bring up our starting lineup here for tonight.
Yeah, we're going to run through that again. David Tooker, Brian Blauman on the front row. Good qualifying by both of them. Matthew Weeks, Ryan Lutz, Gerald Campbell, Chris Wright, Tyler Fodey, R.C. Enerson, Hank Steinmiller, and Caleb Thompson, the top 10 starters here tonight at Las Vegas.
And we got Ethan Beerle in 11th, Fernquist, Robin, Massey, Clark, Green, Haney, Fruchnick, always mispronounce his last name, Stanley and Sherman rounding out the top 20. All these times super tight.
Also wanted to mention some late-breaking news here. Tyler Fodey, 7th place qualifier, has received an EOL, end-of-line penalty for an improper banner, so instead of starting 7th, he will go to the rear of the field. Also, Damian Leininger, a Lake Norman Motorsports driver, slated to start 34th, has had continuous issues with internet, so he is going to be in for a struggle. He actually has already dropped out of the race. He did qualify for the race 34th, but it's going to be a long night for Damian.
That was a rough couple of seconds for Lake Norman there.
Yeah, it was. 2 guys on their roster already having issues before the pace car moved. So, getting ready for the green flag, though. David Tooker, Brian Blauman on the front row. Also wanted to mention this is the 4th race of the season here. Again, looking like an exciting one for sure. It is the first mile and a half of the season. We had a 2-mile track at Michigan, the Super Speedway at Daytona, and the short track of Iowa, all on the schedule so far. Tyler Fodey, Ryan Lutz, and Ethan Burrell have all won races and locked themselves into the chase, but I think there's a good chance we see a new face winning here tonight and locking themselves into the chase for the championship.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It's going to be hard to see a repeat winner when you have Tate starting so far back.
Here we go, though. Pace truck is into pit road, getting ready for the green flag for 150 miles at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing the Timothy Plan 150. And off to an awesome start is that bottom line. Pro Edge Racing lines up perfect and gets a green flag and takes off 1-2. Brian Blauman falls into 3rd, and they're side by side for 4th on back.
Yeah, it was a great start for the inside line there, but it's going to be interesting to see how well that inside line is on a longer run.
Yeah, this track definitely has the capability to be multi-groove, but as we go on a long run, and this track cools down as the moon starts to rise and the sun starts to set here as it's quickly getting dark over the Las Vegas area. These guys are going to find a lot of grip on that inside line as Brian Blauman gets loose on the top, and they're going to stack up and go to the bottom. We got one car bouncing off the wall back there as well, was Chad Thernquist in the 92.
Yeah.
But a bit of scatterbrains into turn 3.
Yeah, he did good to hold on to that.
Down the front straightaway through the Triova, 1st through 4th have gone single file. Blauman continues to plummet through the field. Started 2nd, looking like 6th, possibly 7th right now as Chris Wright gets to the inside in the number 69 car, looking for a position there. That is for position number 6. Also, Ryan Lutz looking to the inside of Gerald Campbell in the 31. That's the battle for 3rd.
I believe Lutz is going to pull it off, coming off 4 here. And behind them, lurking in the background there, is Ethan Beerle. He's had a great start to the race.
Yes, he definitely has. Ethan Burrell, already a winner on the season, 1 at Michigan. Looking for win number 2, runs 5th right now. Brian Blauman did get to fall back in the line. Position number 6, he got clear of Chris right there on the outside. Hank Steinmiller now looking to make a move there. He qualified probably a little worse than he had hoped for. Steinmiller looking to gain a position there in the Michael Waltrip Brewing Co. number 63 machine, as it's still a mess of cars outside of the top 15 is a real scramble.
Yeah, Hank's going to be one of those guys for us to look towards, moving up towards the front. He was bad fast in practice. He was at the top most of the practice, actually.
Yes, he was. He just got it stolen away there at the last second by our pole sitter, David Tooker. Also want to mention a driver for Lake Norman Motorsports also in trouble. Marcus Fruchtenich got into the wall out of turn number 2. So that's a little bit of damage already early in the running for a guy that has been really strong. He made a really strong run in the Cup race on Wednesday night at Milwaukee, giving the short track hero Ryan Lutz a run for his money throughout that entire event.
He's managed to hold on to 20th. He's got Thomas Sherman behind him there in 21st. Andrew Rucker in 23rd. Tate Waddles in 28th. We got a lot of fast guys back here in the pack.
That's for sure. There's a lot of guys that maybe didn't qualify as good as they would have hoped that are going to be moving their way forward. Up front, though, the gap has really expanded quite a bit. David Tooker has got a full second lead last time by across the line, and it continues to grow as he's knocking off some pretty quick lap times here and pulling away from teammate Matthew Weeks, who did win on a 1.5 miles last season. He won the season finale at Charlotte. He was not in contention for the championship, unfortunately, but he did get the win. So definitely has some speed on the 1.5 miles, and that's a track type that I expect these Pro Edge racing drivers to really excel on. Tooker, Birrell, Weeks, all of these guys.
Yeah, I can speak from some insider information there. 1.5 mile tracks is definitely the strong suit of the Pro Edge.
Yeah, they definitely show strength there on and off every week, every 1.5 miles, as Ethan Burrell has now moved into 4th past Gerald Campbell as they're getting awfully dicey right behind that group. Campbell on the outside, Wright on the inside, Blauman on the outside, and also a battle for second going on as Matthew Weeks has let Ryan Lutz go. Not much of a battle there. Weeks gave Lutz all the room in the world. Lutz up to second. He's going to try and run down our leader, but the battle's still on for positions 4 on back.
Yeah, impressive start here for Chris Wright. He continues to just impress all of us, really. He's a rookie this year in this series. He's been up front every single race so far.
Yeah, he definitely has been really strong. Actually, I ran an A fixed race with him at Homestead in the official iRacing series, and he put up a real good fight against me. It was a lot of fun. That track sometimes isn't that fun, and he made it kind of fun. We had a good battle throughout that race, so I knew the name because I knew from seeing him out here in these races on Monday nights that he's definitely got some talent here. Definitely got the capability to win a race this season, and he's running well inside the top 10, looking for a spot in the top 5 now. So the lead for David Tooker is still over 1 full second now over second place Ryan Lutz. Matthew Weeks has fallen back into 3rd position. And Brian Blauman, I wanted to mention him again, kind of settling back into 6th position after a really rough start to the race where he plummeted from 2nd to 7th or 8th, and now he's back up to 6th. So Brian Blauman trying to put things back together. Worked with him on Friday night in the IndyCar race at Long Beach. He had a pretty good car there, but unfortunately got caught up in some of the chaos. But now back into the world of stock car racing, and he is trying to put together a good finish here.
Yeah, to be fair, I think we all got caught up in the chaos at Long Beach. So.
Yeah, that's right. I think just about everybody did there. That was a tough track to figure out here.
It's a good thing these guys got it sorted out for 6, because R.C. Anderson, he's starting to pounce here. He's up to 9th. He's starting to catch up to Chris Wright there in 8th.
Yeah, he's definitely someone that has improved greatly throughout this season. He's missed a couple races, but on the Cup side, he won at Auto Club, Fontana, California, and he's been really strong here week in and week out at every track. He's doing really strong here in that Lucas Oil Racing School Ford Mustang.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that could always set down a hot lap, but he would fade on a longer run. He's starting to figure out the tire wear thing, and that's just not good for any of us.
Yeah, when someone who's good at hot lapping figures out how to do everything else, that's when you know you got a problem on your hands as a competitor to one of these guys like R.C. Enerson, who's got some real speed now as he's qualified in 8th. He lost a position to 9th, but he's hanging right in there with these guys. It's really close, especially from Gerald Campbell running 5th on back is pretty much nose to tail through the field.
Yeah, I feel like Campbell's got pretty good pace, but he just seems to, I don't know if he's gearing up for a long run here or what, but he seems to be dropping back just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap between him and the car in front is Ethan Burrell, so slight gap there. He's fallen a little bit back, but not too far yet. Still a long ways to go. We'll have to see how the long run plays out. You could probably get through this race on one stop if it were to go green the entire way. So this is, again, 100 laps, 150 miles. So I expect if this race is to go green all the way to the halfway point, that's when we'll see pit stops. Also wanted to mention, not sure what happened to Jared Rexing, but started 28th, which still isn't that good for a guy like Jared Rexing. He's got damage all over the right side of the car, running 40th right now. So definitely something happened there to Jared Rexing. So he has fallen through the field after starting in a position that's already far back for a driver like Jared Rexing.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic of Jared, especially this early in the race to get caught up in something.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage to the right side of that automobile. Most of the field's still clean, as a couple of cars I've mentioned caught a piece of the wall here and there. I know turn 2 especially can be really tricky here at Las Vegas, but clean throughout the field for the most part, as we remain caution-free through now 17 laps completed, and David Tooker has led them all.
And his teammate Tate Lytle is continuing to move up in the field here. He's about to complete a pass for 20th.
Yeah, Lytle definitely the biggest mover of this race so far, I believe, from starting way back in 32nd. Tate Lytle up to 20th, so that's a really strong run for the 56 Toyota. Also, Chad Frankenfield had some issues and ended up starting at the rear in qualifying, so he went from 43rd to 24th, so also a really good start to this race for Chad. And then Tyler Fodey, who had the EOL, is right behind Chad in 25th.
Yeah, I was about to say, this feels like deja vu from Iowa all over again, following these guys up through the field.
Yeah, it seems like just about every week there's somebody who starts in the rear of the field that has to work their way forward, whether it be for an EOL or just a mistake during qualifying. But this week, again, Tyler Fodey seems to be that guy most weeks, as he doesn't qualify as well as he races in the long run. So he's moving up through the field right now pretty strong, as well as Frankenfield and Lytle.
Take a look at Rexing, and you can clearly see some damage on the right side of his car there. Back here with a whole gaggle of cars around 36.
Yeah, I'm looking at a really good battle right now, raging for position number 7, 8, 9. It's really close. Hank Steinmiller, Chris Wright, R.C. Enerson, Nick Massey was a guy who had a really good run last week at Iowa. Jeff Green also involved in this little scrum of about 5 cars running all side by side, nose to tail, down through turns 1 and 2. And in front of them, Brian Blauman is side by side with Gerald Campbell. So no shortage in action here as Blauman picks off Campbell, who ran up against the wall there in 1 and 2. So now move Blauman back up into the top 5. But this battle right here getting really close as Chris Wright not giving much room to Hank Steinmiller, has to wash back up the track here. Man, Nick Massey with the run out of 4 on the top is going to gain a ton of ground here.
Yeah, that top lane might start to be coming in here. Now we got some laps on these tires, about 21 laps into this one.
Yeah, we'll have to see how strong it becomes, but definitely some guys making it work better than others. I've seen people venture up there quite a bit. Nick Massey, one of them, just made a pass on Hank Steinmiller on the top line. Brian Blauman, another guy I've seen run a couple lines off the bottom, versus there's a good chunk of the field that remains glued to that white line, just making laps around the bottom. Also, that gap to the lead I mentioned was running about 1 to 1.2 seconds, has now sunk down to 0.3. So Ryan Lutz is, and he's also got the rest of the field behind him in tow, is reeling in David Tooker. But Lutz, Weeks, and Birrell, the top 4, all within a second now. So that lead definitely shrinking.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if Tooker just pushed too hard, too fast here to start this run. and everyone's starting to come back to him now.
Yeah, definitely struggling on these tires. Usually it's an advantage in clean air, getting to save tires, but at the same time, you're the one setting the pace for the field, so everyone knows how fast you're going because they're sitting right behind you, and they can kind of judge how hard they want to push through corners and stuff like that. So it makes it tough and easy at the same time, but either way, Tooker definitely struggling here a little bit as this run goes on, as Ryan Lutz begins to reel him in.
And back here around 6th place, Gerald Campbell's backed up to the ongoing battle from about 6th on through 10th here.
Yeah, he's kind of holding them up now, going from top to bottom. He's going to give Chris Wright the outside, which isn't really that big of an advantage, but Gerald definitely seems to be struggling, and he's going to slide up in front of Chris Wright. Oh, they make a little bit of contact as Wright pushes Gerald out of the corner. Gerald definitely has wiped his tires right off the rubber, and now it's Nick Massey to the inside of Gerald Campbell into turn number 3. He's easily going to complete that pass, move Nick Massey from 14th on the grid up to P7 now as he gets by Gerald Campbell. Actually make that to P6. He also passed Chris Wright within that same lap, so Nick Massey moving forward really well here.
Yeah, Gerald's having a rough go on this first stint.
Oh, we got a battle for the lead going on. Ryan Lutz has just buried it into the wall on the straightaway, and Matthew Weeks just drove right into the back of a man. Those cars are really hurting right now. Ryan Lutz just went to make a move on the back straightaway and misjudged and drove his car straight into the outside wall into turn 3. I mean, he wasn't really even that close to make a move, but he went for it, and I don't know if Tooker blocked. I'll have to look at the replay here. Looks like Lutz made a move to the inside. Tooker made a fairly lazy block. He kind of just moved to the bottom to give Lutz the top, and Lutz yanked it to the right, and with these old tires, he got loose, and the thing went straight into the wall on the entry to turn 3, and Matthew Weeks drove right into the back of him. Both of those cars have really heavy damage.
Yeah, we're back to real time here.
Oh, we got trouble in the tri-oval. Gerald Campbell is in the wall, and another car is stopped on the apron. It's carnage all over the place. I think that's the 18 of Josh Personette. No caution is out. He's sitting on the apron. But Gerald Campbell just got put in the wall when someone was trying to pass him. Heavy damage now to the 31.
Yeah, Gerald's race is quickly falling apart here now.
Yeah, problems there for Gerald Campbell. As a couple of people's races just went up in smoke. Josh Personette is still sitting on the apron in the entry to turn 1. Not sure if he's having some sort of issue there with his computer or something, but he has yet to reset. But no caution is coming out as he's off the track, thankfully, so we'll have to see what happens there. But David Tooker continues to lead. Matthew Weeks now with some fairly heavy nose damage is trying to reel him in.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the speed Weeks still has. Even with that nose damage, he's keeping Tooker honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised he is. And it sounds like Josh Personette's having some technical issues because coming through the tri-oval, he just pulled over and came to a stop. And admins are now planning on removing him from the session because I guess he's unable to reset himself right now. So Josh Personette looks like going to be out of this race. So Personette out, as well as Damian Leininger, we mentioned having connection issues, was unable to even start the race. So Damian Leininger will be credited with 43rd, Personette 42nd, unless he's able to come back. Jari Brukasher is one lap down in 41st, and Richard Hines is running 40th, last car on the lead lap. Still about half a lap ahead of these leaders, though.
Yeah, we just watched Brian Blauman get around Ryan Lutz. He's sneaking back up there into the top 3 and 4 here. Back up to 4th, second and a half off the leader.
And I am impressed, though, with Matthew Weeks, who's still hanging in there with David Tooker. I mean, in these Xfinity-type cars on iRacing, especially at a track like this, damage that he has to the nose of his car should be enough to really kill his momentum. And, I mean, he's still hanging in there, but then you compare it to a guy like Ryan Lutz is moving over to let guys go. He has fallen outside of the top 5 now, and into the clutches of a lot of cars here as R.C. Enerson's getting ready to pass him next.
Yeah, you can clearly see the damage on the front of Weeks' Supra, but it's not affecting him too much right now.
Also, Hank Steinmiller, who was running within the top 10, has been involved in an incident, and he has parked it. It looks like Jeff Green got into him, and man, Hank Steinmiller buried the turn one wall, and that car was really hurt, and he parked it there on the back straightaways where that happened. So, sounds like Hank Steinmiller may be done.
Yeah, it's a tough break for Hank. You know, it's interesting. We've had a lot of incidents here so far, but we have yet to see a yellow flag.
Yeah, not one of these guys has actually really spun out. Everyone's come about as close as they can to doing so, but everyone keeping it straight, but they are beating and banging off each other quite a bit. Also wanted to mention these guys who are moving through the field. Josh Adams, 24th now to 10th. Also Tate Lytle from 32nd up to 13th. Also hearing over radio right now, I'm going to interrupt myself, but you got some guys taken to the pit lane here. Gerald Campbell is going to be the first taker here, maybe trying some sort of short pit strategy. Of course, his tires fell off more than anybody's by far, and he also has picked up some damage. So Gerald Campbell onto pit road.
Now, it looks like the biggest improvers there from all that midfield chaos was Tate Lytle and Thomas Sherman. They were running around 20th, 21st. Now they're 12th, 14th. So they must have avoided the chaos.
Yeah, definitely looking strong right now. Also, Chad Frankenfield and Tyler Fodey started at the rear. Fodey runs 17th, Frankenfield in the 19th position.
Yeah, they're separated by Josh Clark, one of the other Pro Edge drivers, who is in the correct car tonight.
Yeah, Clark having a solid, clean run here, running 18th right now.
Get a look at Andrew Rucker. He's made a pretty good move up towards the front too. 16th now.
Yeah, Rucker actually led a lot of laps here last season, so this is a track that he must particularly like. He ran well last season here, and he is on the move right now, up 9 positions early. Pretty good battle going on for 4th right now. Nick Massey, Brian Blauman, and R.C. Enerson. You could throw a blanket over these three as they run side by side for 4th, and Enerson sits waiting in the wings in 5th, waiting for somebody to hopefully make a mistake he's trying to pounce on.
Yeah, these guys can't get away from each other.
It's been a real good battle here within the top 5 as the top 3 Pro Edge Toyotas run nose to tail. Tooker, Weeks, Burrell, all within 7/10, just nose to tail, sitting in line. No one's gaining on each other really. But Brian Blauman, I noticed him at the very start of the race was rather off the pace, and I feel like what he was doing was just a severe tire-saving strategy. And over these last couple of laps, man, he has been putting out some pretty impressive lap times. That time by especially gained 2/10 on leader David Tooker. So Brian Blauman here definitely saved some tire, and this could play into his hands here as this run goes on. And you also notice he is really running a higher line than anybody else, running right on that first seam off the bottom when you got the rest of the field running pretty much against the white line. So interesting to see that line really working for Blauman. Also R.C. Enerson, another guy who's making those old tires work in the 50 cars. He goes to make a move on Blauman.
Josh Robbins sneaking up a little bit. He's up to 7th now. Him and Chris Wright here. He got by Lutz a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, Josh Robbins, another guy looking really strong here on these old tires. That 8 car looking fast. David Tooker, though, leading every single lap so far from the pole. As we complete lap number 40, if he leads through the halfway point, he will officially pick up the bonus point for most laps led, as well as he already has the bonus point for leading a lap and getting the pole. So Tooker looking for the perfect race here tonight.
Yeah, what do you think these guys are going to want to do up front? Are they trying to split this in half, or?
That's going to be my assumption. I personally didn't do any laps around the track here in this car, but my assumption is you're going to split this race. Whether you can make it maybe a little longer on fuel, I think it's a pretty good strategy. Maybe as some of these guys up front to run it through lap 50 and then come in. I'd complete the 50th lap and then come in to pit road maybe shortly after, just to make it a nice, easy, simple split of this race. But not 100% sure what these guys will do. I'm sure there's guys that are going to risk it and stay out and hope they get a caution. And there's probably going to be some guys that come in within the next couple of laps and hope that we can have a caution at the right time that serves them well. And one of the people doing that right now is the damaged number 36 of Ryan Lutz, sliding it down pit road out of turn number 4. He's going to try and short pit here with that damage he's got. He's really struggling.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move by him. He has nothing to lose at this point with that damage.
So Ryan Lutz, the first major contender to take to the pit lane, of course, with damage, though. We'll see how that goes for him. He's just got to make something happen here, knowing that he's in trouble already. But David Tooker starting to pull away a little bit. His lead has gained now over 0.6 of a second between himself and damaged teammate, albeit Matthew Weeks running second. Also, now we have another taker to the pit lane on the short pit strategy is Josh Adams. He's down the pit road, as well as Nick Yeoman and Harrison Talon all down pit road. These guys maybe weren't doing so hot here on these old tires. They burnt them up, and they wanted to get down pit road and get a fresh set on sooner than these guys, because the longer they wait with ripped up old tires, the more they're going to lose.
Yeah, I agree. And guys like Josh Adams, you know, he drove through the field, so he probably burned more of his rubber off than anybody.
Yes, I expect maybe Tate Lytle, Chad Frankenfield, Tyler Fodey to also be guys that probably burnt their tires up pretty bad and are be coming down the pits as we're watching a battle between teammates for second. Matthew Weeks isn't cutting any slack to Ethan Barrell, and I'm sure Barrell's not too happy about it, because now here comes a freight train of R.C. Enerson and Nick Massey through to the outside of Barrell. So, man, Barrell's going to lose a spot because of it too. Weeks was not giving up that spot easily. And now it's R.C. Enerson up to third after starting in the 8th position. Really strong run coming together for the number 50 car.
Yeah, and it's impressive to see what these guys have done. They've been battling the entire time and have ran down Weeks and Barrell.
Here comes Enerson to the inside of Weeks for second, as Nick Massey has moved past Burrell for third, or that's fourth rather. Now R.C. Enerson into position number 2. Let's see if he can reel in David Tooker much more before we get to the one and only round of green flag pit stops we're going to see here tonight.
And this
Haven't
is
seen any other takers to the pit lane since that group with Ryan Lutz and Josh Adams.
Starting to see that long run pace that RC has suddenly found come into play here too.
That's one thing I've personally been looking for a long time, and I have not found it, but R.C. Enerson sure has found it. He has pulled 0.3 the last lap by on David Tooker. He might get there before we get to pit stops, but Tooker's probably seeing this and thinking, oh boy, we better get to that halfway quick because I want to pit and get the short pit on Enerson, because, I mean, Enerson's got a beat here as this run goes on. Nick Massey's also going to move up to third past Matthew Weeks there.
Yeah, these Pro Edge guys are starting to struggle a little bit on older tires.
Man, look at this. R.C. Enerson's catching him like nothing. That's another 0.3. He actually gained 0.4 last time. He gained another 3 this time. And now he's on the inside into turn number 1 and easily going to blow Tooker's doors off into turn number 1. New leader, R.C. Enerson, just before halfway. So that's a pretty big pass there for R.C. Enerson to pick off David Tooker right before the halfway point.
Yeah, you can tell, especially on corner exit, just how much more drive he has off the turn right now. I mean, look right there, and he just gaps him.
There's some really impressive speed there by R.C. Enerson on this long run. That's just very impressive. And R.C. Enerson coming into this race has had a pretty strong season for sure. Going into a road course next week is really his specialty if he had to have one. But, I mean, man, that's impressive. He's 4th in points coming into this race. And look at Nick Massey as well, following suit with R.C. Enerson to the inside. And he's going to take the spot from David Tooker now. 1-2, completely different as it was a Pro Edge Racing 1-2-3 for a really long period of time. Now give it to R.C. Enerson, Nick Massey, 1-2, as a couple others have hit the pit lane, including Chad Frankenfield and Jeff Breen.
Yeah, pit road's about to pick up.
It definitely is. We just completed lap number 50, so expect guys who maybe their plan was to split the race in half. It's their time to pit right now, so let's watch these leaders very closely as those guys on fresh tires are ripping through the field right now. Some guys out there gaining up to 2 seconds a lap on the leaders on fresh tires. Marshall Stanley last time by, he just came down the pits, ran a 31.2. Leaders are running 33.2s. So these guys are gaining seconds a lap. Even some of the guys that weren't competitive up in the front of the field are gaining multiple seconds a lap.
Josh Robin gets by Weeks for 4th. Looks like Richard Hines is slow on the backstretch there. Everyone's going low to avoid him.
Yeah, he's got some heavy right side damage. Looks like he caught... Oh, trouble,
Haney
turn 4!
Robin.
Massive accident. Josh Robin coming into the pits got pile-driven by Scott Haney. Ethan Barrell with heavy damage, and our first caution is out. And that is a tough break for those guys that decided to short pit, have all been trapped a lap behind the field. But man, Josh Robin and Ethan Burrell, I think it was, also involved. Heavy damage to those cars.
Yeah, Burrell's got some damage to his right front and right rear. Oh man,
Yeah.
Haney just, I don't know how late Robin called that he was coming into the pits, but Haney definitely didn't get the word.
Yeah, either Haney didn't get the word. He also really didn't have many places to go there. There was a car to his outside. He had a train of cars to his outside, so kind of a tough deal there. But that is a product of green flag pit stops, really. I don't have the team radios on, so I can't hear when they call out the pit stops. But, I mean, Robin woed up. He was obviously coming down to pit road, and Haney just plowed into the back of him. And, man, Ethan Burrell with heavy damage. And, man, Brian Blauman made an unbelievable avoidance of that wreck as the field has come down pit road here under caution. So race control has just gone over the radio and made the call on a racing deal there. The 3 was boxed in, and they also mentioned they weren't sure they heard the 8 car make a call that he was pitting. So interesting development there, but either way, some heavy damage to multiple cars. And coming out of the pit lane, it's still R.C. Enerson leading here at Las Vegas.
And while the field gets settled, we'll take a break here and we'll be back in just a moment.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
So also wanted to make a shout out here. Again, this race is the Timothy Plan 150, and Timothy Plan is a family of mutual funds that utilizes biblically responsible investing filters to ensure that no money is invested in companies that are supportive of ideals that are contrary to their biblical moral imperative. Timothy Plan is more than just not investing in things. It's about kingdom impact investing. The impact money has by being placed with companies that don't participate in activities contrary to Scripture. That is the Timothy Plan 150 here, presented by BYRD Racing. So very excited to see how this race turns out, as we're just past the halfway when that caution flag flew, the first one of the race. I also wanted to shout out to SMRI Productions, our title sponsor of the series. SMRI is an independent record label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. They focus on delivering comprehensive digital content with organic media for all your digital needs. And they also provide multiple avenues of content consumption, making sure that you're always in control. As a content provider, SMRI offers a unique, ever-growing catalog to fit your needs for any bespoke media desire. Also, C2 Freight Resources. C2 Freight offers multiple complete freight management services. They are ready to meet your needs today as well as your changing needs in the future. With thousands of qualified careers in their database, they're capable of handling shipping for every type of goods, from perishable foods to office equipment. Whatever you need to ship, they have access to the necessary equipment, including flatbeds, double drops, vans, tankers, refrigerated equipment, multi-axle heavy haulers, dump trucks, auto carriers, intermodal containers, and more. And then, of course, EDI Services. C2 Freight offers electronic data interchange, known as EDI Services, which allows shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments through their freight movement process. For more information about EDI Services or to discuss your needs for other specialized services, please contact C2 Freight. So getting ready for the green flag here. The pace truck lights are off on the official pace truck of iRacing. Field remains fairly similar to what it was at the time of caution. We had a bunch of waiver there, which were all the guys that unfortunately got caught on pit road trying to short pit when the caution came out, which is one of the most annoying things that has definitely happened to me multiple times, is trying to short pit and getting caught out.
Yeah, and we're going to have some new players up front here. Tate, Tyler Fodey, Thomas Sherman, they all came from about 20th on back and find themselves up here in the top 8.
Yeah, the only guy that was really working from the back to the front that didn't get to the front because of that caution is Chad Frankenfield. Got caught on the short pit strategy that went wrong. But green flag is out, and my goodness, R.C. Enerson with a huge jump. He is gone. Nick Massey and David Tooker are going to be side by side into turn number 1. Tooker's going to clear him, but man, bad start by everyone other than Enerson there. Has pulled a pretty big gap out of turn number 2. Battle is on for second on back.
Yeah, and we'll give a quick shout out to Brandon Key as well. He started back around 35th on back. He's quietly made his way up front here too.
Yeah, he's running within the top 10 here. Good run by Key as well as Thomas Sherman. Again, mentioned him running inside the top 10. So yeah, Tyler Fodey and Tate Lytle have arrived to the party. Tate Lytle into 3rd out of turn number 2, making moves on this short run. Less than half of the race remaining here. This run will be definitely shorter than that last one there for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see how well Tooker can manage his tires on this run now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. It's still about the same amount of laps in length, but I mean, if you look back at it, it was Tooker holding the lead all the way until about lap 46, 47 when R.C. Enerson got around him, and this run to the end will be about 45 laps long. So let's see if Tooker can use that extra 5 laps that he doesn't have to run on these old tires if we go green to the end, and try to pounce on R.C. Enerson here as Enerson continues to lead over David Tooker. These are the only 2 guys that have led at all during this race. They run 1-2.
Yeah, Nick Massey and Chris Ryder up here now. They actually have some track positions, so let's see if they can get up here and battle it out as well.
Also wanted to mention back of those involved in that incident, everyone is still on the track. Ethan Burrell has lost 5 laps, though, fixing the damage that he got from the accident, running 38th. Tyler Riggs also multiple laps down and in the pit lane. Looks like he got damage as well. He runs 39th. Kendall Noah Player and Hank Steinmiller are both back on the track over 13 laps down, so they are multiple laps down, but logging laps here to gain positions on those that have crashed out. But continuing on up front, it's Enerson, Tooker, and Tate Lytle. David Tooker's not letting Enerson get away, though, right now. He's running all over the back bumper. He actually might make a move here into turn number 1. You know, he's got nowhere to go, and he backs out of it, still running right behind him. Trying to get a better run maybe into a corner to make a move.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Tooker's thinking he needs to make this move now and try and pull out a gap while he can.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing, especially knowing that Enerson can probably save tires better than Tooker, as we saw in that first run. Is, you know, it's easier to make a move when everyone's on fresh tires. And it's tough when you're on old tires to make moves at all, so we'll see what Tooker decides to do here. But right now, not really going in full desperation mode and making a move just yet. Kind of just sitting in line.
Nick Massey's thinking about making a move on Tate.
He goes to the inside into turn 3 for third. Tate pinches him down low. He gets a little loose out of 4. He's not going to get that great of a run. It might be enough to clear, but he's still at the corner panel as Massey uses the apron down through the tri-oval. He's not going to get there, though. Lytle drives it in deep and is clear into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Chris Wright's going to try and take advantage of that on the outside.
Yeah, he's been working the outside pretty good throughout this race in the 69, and man, he worked it good right there. Clear of Nick Massey out of turn number 2 into turn 3. That's for position number 4.
Now, one driver we hadn't talked about is Chuck Sweeting. He's moved up to 8. He's having a good little run here.
Yeah, the Mystery Motorsports Chevrolet running inside the top 10 here. Started 22nd, so up a ton of spots. Got a little help from that caution as he hadn't come down pit road yet, so some big gains there by the 75 machine.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks is falling back to 12th. You got to wonder if that damage might have started to catch up to him a little bit.
Yeah, definitely will on the short run when you're using more on throttle time. When you're using a lot more throttle, you're going to feel the effects of that damage a lot easier here. You're really going to feel it here on this short run, but as we get going, he'll start to even out with everybody else. It's easier to save tires as well as you have less power, which is generally what's going to happen when you have nose damage like he does.
Right. And right behind him, we got the first of the short pit drivers, Josh Adams. He's back up to 13th now. The strategy may have not played out for him, but at least he still found himself close to the top 10.
Yeah, he was lucky enough to actually come down the pit lane early enough to where he was able to race his way back onto the lead lap by the time the caution came out. So Josh Adams got lucky in that sense that he was able to stay on the lead lap instead of having to take the wave around. So he's on just as fresh of tires as everybody else, and he had to work his way through the field a little bit as he's charging back through to the top 10.
And we got a battle brewing up here near the front. It's like Tate Lytle's
second.
going under Tooker.
Yeah, I think Lytle's fed up with Tooker not making a move on Enerson. He wants to do it himself, but Tooker's going to hold off Lytle here and stay right in that sandwich between the Pro Edge Toyota of Lytle and RC Enerson, our leader.
Yeah, we know Lytle has the long run pace too because he drove through the field there on that first run.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do against RC Enerson because his long run speed there in that opening half of the race was insanely impressive. I mean, that 50 car was fast on the long run, pulling multiple tenths a lap on the race leader after 45 laps of a run. That's impressive.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Top 3 still running nose to tail through turns 1 and 2. Lytle going to run a little bit higher here to see if he can get that Toyota wound up out of turn number 2. Not close enough to make a move on his teammate just yet, as David Tooker keeping Tate Lytle behind him for second.
Yeah, all 3 of these top guys here just seem to be running mirror images of each other right now.
Yeah, Lytle's trying to adventure around and get a run on his teammate in front of him, as he knows he wants to get by him and get a shot at RC Enerson while he still can here. Coming to 30 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, this has been a quick race so far. They're setting a great pace out there tonight.
Yeah, only 1 caution so far and only 30 laps to go now. I mean, it's been an insanely clean race as expected on these mile and a halves. Also wanted to mention Ethan Burrell back down pit road. So issues for him. Looks like he's going to finish well outside of the top 35. So problems there for Ethan Burrell involved in that one and only major accident we've had so far in this event. But lucky for him, already won at Michigan, so he is locked into the chase. But I'm sure he wanted a really good run here tonight. He was running within the top 5 as Tate Lytle has made the move and up to second. Looks like Tooker rather might have cut him some slack there. And now Tate Lytle's going to try and run down Enerson.
Yeah, that looked like it might have been orchestrated by the Pro Edge guys.
It is always nice to have teammates who are nice enough to move out of your way when they know the other guy's faster. So Tucker moves out of the way, and there goes Lytle up into the runner-up position. But can he run down race leader R.C. Enerson?
Don't think he gained anything on him that lap, but he's still adventuring. You know, all these other guys seem to be running the same line each lap. Tate's actually moving around, just trying to find where the car is fastest. You know, I think it's going to help him in the long run learn a little bit more about where to position himself. So he does seem to be gaining a little bit this lap.
Yeah, last time by he gained about half a tenth, but this time it looks like it's going to be more than that, as he has pulled away from third and gained ever so closer to the back bumper of that Ford Mustang of R.C. Enerson. And now it is, yeah, that time by he gained a tenth on him. The fastest car on the racetrack, though, was actually Tyler Fodey, just a slight bit faster than Tate Lytle.
Yeah, we better not sleep on Fodey. He's moved up here to the back of this top 5 battle.
Battle going on back there for fourth. Nick Massey making the move on Chris Wright. That's going into turn number 1 now. Tyler Fodey behind the two of them. Massey, oh, he's not quite clear. Chris Wright has been making that top line work, and he's going to give it a good run out of turn 2 and keep it nose to tail with David Tooker there. So we've seen a lot of guys run the bottom right against that white line, or maybe just a skosh off of it. But it's either been that line, ooh, as David Tooker gets a piece of that white line, that shoots him way up wide, and he's going to lose a ton of spots. Man, Tooker loses 3, maybe even 4 spots to Brian Blauman, all because he clipped the apron. But, I mean, you've seen guys run mainly 2 different lines. You've seen a lot of guys run right on that white line, and a lot of guys run right on that seam about a car width and a half off the bottom. Those have been the 2 major lines, and a lot of people have been making that top line, that second group, work a lot more than others, and some guys have been making that bottom line work a lot more than others.
Yeah, Massey and Wright just can't get away from each other.
Yeah, these guys have been door to door basically the whole race.
Yeah, they were doing this at Iowa too. So.
Door handle to door handle through turns 1 and 2. Wright's going to have a really good run here. He's got a really good corner with him right now. And out of turn 2, Tyler Fodey, another guy who's been running that second lane right on that seam. He's now going to be on the inside of Massey, who's been working the bottom. So now Tyler Fodey on that seam, and he's been running it, so he's going to have a ton of speed there off the top of the line with a run on Massey, trying to follow Chris Wright through into a 4th place position here. But these 3 are just stuck to each other.
Yeah, I believe that second lane's starting to pay off for Wright.
Tooker's really struggling on the bottom, just caught the apron again. So he falls off the bottom line and slides up a little, gives Brian Blauman a run at him on the inside.
And Blauman's going to clear him now, and Chuck Sweeting's going to come up. So he gets a little squirrely there on the straightaway. This race is just starting to fall apart for Tooker.
Yeah, we've got battles all over this racetrack right now, and this group right here has really held themselves up, and now there's a bunch of guys reeling them in. Thomas Sherman and Chuck Sweeting among them. Brandon Key, also mentioned him earlier, having a good run, running 10th right now. Ooh, man, look at Tooker and Sherman and Chuck Sweeting going at it right here. That's for 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Brandon Key lurking back there in 10th place.
This time by is R.C. Enerson slowly increasing that gap over Tate Lytle, only a few tenths, really not much of a gap at all. No room for error between the two of them. So that's definitely, they just do not want to make mistakes right now, and they're running perfect races as they reach a lap car here. Coming to 20 laps to go. R.C. Enerson caught that lap car in a really bad spot. Nothing Hank could have done there up against the wall, but he loses a little bit of time to Tate, but still pretty close in lap times, as they definitely are pulling away from 3rd place, though.
Yeah, Scott Haney will probably cut him a break here. Well, it's just going to hold his line. Well, that's the way to do it. These guys are running on the inside anyway. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. The best thing to do for a lap car, unless you're making it very clear that you're going to move well out of the way, is just hold your line, and we'll figure out a way to get around you. Especially these guys have really heavy damage. They're way off the pace. Just hold your line. We're going to easily get by you. Really tight battle going on here. Almost contact between Fodey and Wright for third, and Massey as well is going to get in the back of Fodey. Man, I was just about to say before it happened, this battle's getting really close, and Fodey and Wright were probably about an inch off of getting into each other and causing an accident there. So really hard racing here. Everywhere within the top 3 through 10 is under a blanket, battling hard, and we are possibly not done with seeing cautions yet the way I'm seeing these guys racing. So, I mean, this thing could be far from over. But right now, if we are to go green, it looks like it's going to be either R.C. Enerson or Tate Lytle's race.
Yeah, I think these guys back here at the back end of the top 10 know it's time to go now. So this race is quickly winding down.
Oh, man, one car spinning out of turn 4. Marcus Frucknick, and he saves it. Made contact with Matthew Weeks there. They were running just outside of the top 10. Both those cars with some minor damage from a previous incident, but man, a near accident there. I mean, it was a spin, but he saved it somehow. They have now fallen outside of the top 15. Looked like Matthew Weeks made a big move to the inside, and Marcus didn't see it coming and came down. They were running right within that group too, but now they've lost touch. They're running right behind Brandon Key, who is the 10th place driver right now. Actually looking for 9th on Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, Weeks is still going after Marcus.
Yeah, those guys battling hard, and they made a little bit of contact there. I don't know if I'd really blame it on anyone. It's just hard racing here with coming to 15 laps to go. This race is ticking by really fast. Ooh, but I'm sure they're not happy with each other. They make more contact there out of turn 2. They're running now 14th and 15th.
Jared Rexon is going to try and take advantage of them battling. Just scoot on by here. Ooh, he gets a little loose.
Yeah, he might have caught a piece of the grass. Yeah, exactly. He's had a long night, that Rexon car. I don't know why he got the wall earlier. I didn't see the incident, but he fell back outside of the top 40 early in the race. And he climbed up looking for a top 15 spot here as these two guys, he's probably scared watching this battle in front of him, though, as these two guys door slamming for position.
Yeah, you're right. Give a call to Michael Daniel Martinez there in 15th. He's quietly put together a pretty good race. Hadn't talked about him on, huh?
He's having a good run there. He finished in the top 10 in the Daytona 500. I remember racing with him there at the very end of the Daytona 500 there back in the middle of February with the Elite Racing League. So Michael Daniel Martinez having a really clean, solid run here. That 83 car is still clean. There's a lot of guys that found the wall or another driver here throughout this race.
And looks like Sherman finally worked his way around Tooker. Tooker had been holding up the back end of that top 10 for a few laps.
Yeah, Tooker definitely has been falling off during this run. A couple of mistakes, as well as I'm sure his tires are hurting too. Battle going on right now for 4th, though. Tyler Fodey is just giving Nick Massey the bottom lap after lap, but Fodey's running that top so well, Massey's unable to pass him. So Fodey, though, trying to hold on to this 4th position. Currently coming into this race as the points leader, 7 points over Chris Wright, who runs right in front of these two, is Tyler Fodey. Has a win already this season.
Nick might clear him going into one here, but not quite. Cody's just got that high lane rolling. He's able to keep his momentum up.
Yes, he is, and Brian Blauman reeling in these guys. He's looking for a top 5 finish here in the 29 car. And that Michael Jordan painted Chevrolet has had a couple really strong runs here this season.
And they better watch out. Sherman's coming up here to join this battle. Brandon Key's not far behind them. David Tooker's fell all the way back to 10th now.
And the gap from 1st to 2nd has grown over half a second now between R.C. Enerson and Tate Lytle. Enerson definitely getting strong here on this long run, as Lytle still had to fight through a couple cars before he got up to second place and probably burnt up his tires doing so.
Yeah, RC, he's been on rails all night tonight.
Yeah, he really has picked up the lead just before the halfway point, so if he was to lead from now till the end of this race, he will just barely pick up the most laps led bonus point as well as the win. Oh man, Tate Lytle is completely sideways at a turn 2. He's losing a ton of time pushing as hard as he is, but you got to do what you got to do at this point in the race. Nick Massey going for third on Chris Wright, though. That's another car who, on that first run, the first half of the race, he followed R.C. Enerson right through the field up into second, I believe, at the time of caution. So strong run for him. Also, Chad Frankenfield is down on pit road with heavy damage to the 15 car. He got caught out with that caution earlier, so Frankenfield definitely not having a good run, and he looks like he's going to park it and possibly finish outside of the top 30 here tonight.
Yeah, Chad just had a rough night. He's probably ready to just write this one off.
Yeah, he's definitely feeling it. I know the feeling when you're caught out by a caution like that. It's the worst. When you're having a good night, he drove from the back of the field into the top 20. And, I mean, he's probably very upset that he did all that and pit and got caught out by the one caution of the race as we close in on 8 laps to go.
Yeah, Andrew Rucker's knocked David Tooker completely out of the top 10 now.
Yeah, Rucker making a good climb here late into the top 10.
Yeah, he's had a great race. He may not think it's too great being in 10th, but coming from the back, it's a pretty good run.
Nick Massey has cleared Chris Wright for third. We'll see if he has anything up his sleeve here, but only 7 laps remain in this race. So Nick Massey, though, looking for a solid podium here to close out the race at Las Vegas, but Chris Wright's fighting back here on the outside line. He made a run on him out of turn 4. He's not giving up quite yet. Nick Massey trying to hold him off on the bottom is going to be tough. Chris Wright's been running that seam real well.
You know, it speaks a lot about these guys. They've spent over half the race side by side and have kept it clean all night.
Yeah, they have a lot. Basically, everybody within this lead group has been clean all night long, with the exception of a few incidents here and there. But I mean, a very clean race here tonight. Again, only 1 caution, and we are on 6 laps to go, closing in on 5 laps to go now.
Yeah, this race is quickly winding down.
Also, just wanted to mention, as Chris Wright passes Nick Massey back, I didn't actually think he'd be able to do it, but he has so far. Nick Massey fighting back, though, on the inside. Man, what a battle. Wanted to mention Ryan Lutz just got put a lap down by the leaders. So, man, Ryan Lutz, heavy damage. Then he tried to short pit, and it all just went wrong for the 36 camp. He runs 31st. Came into this race 3rd in the point standings, and that's definitely going to change, as R.C. Enerson, who's 4th in the point standings, is leading here with 5 to go, looking to pick up a big amount of points. On top of that, the win to lock him into the chase.
Yeah, he seems to just be on cruise control now.
Another heartbreaker, though, Josh Robin, who got heavy damage from that accident there at the halfway point. He runs 27th. He came into this race 5th in points. But R.C. Enerson leading this race with ease, just hoping that no caution comes out. And it's crazy, there was only 1 lead change during this entire event as we close in on 3 laps to go. And as long as there's not a caution, I don't see that statistic changing here as Enerson reaches 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and our longtime leader, David Tooker, is continuing to fall down the field. Now out of the top 15.
Yeah, real tough break there for Tooker, running 16th now. Fell apart since the caution flag.
How about David Westergreen, barely sneaking in, now finds himself here close to battling for top 15.
Yeah, it was nearly actually DNQ for this race, but due to the way the point standings fell and certain guys being locked in on points, he was able to sneak in. But man, this battle for 3rd is something I can't keep my eyes off. They are still going at it as Nick Massey just crossed Chris Wright over into turn 1 as we hit 2 to go. I mean, if these guys don't take each other out, I don't know what else they could possibly do. But I really hope they make it home clean here, as R.C. Enerson's coming to take the white flag.
Yeah, Wright and Massey have put on a show tonight for us for sure.
Curious to see which one of them is going to come out in third because it's a toss-up right now. But white flag is in the air. R.C. Enerson looking to take home the checkered flag. 1.5 miles left to go. Looking for his first win of the season in the SMRI Productions Grand National Series.
Fodey just about got into Massey there. Looks like Wright might get that podium position.
Yeah, the battle for fourth is on as our leader, R.C. Enerson, comes out of turn number 4. And R.C. Enerson is going to do it and win the Timothy Plan 150 from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a drag race to the line for fourth. Tyler Fodey steals it from Nick Massey, but it's going to be Tate Lytle in second and Chris Wright in third. Tyler Fodey steals that fourth place from Nick Massey. Thomas Sherman with a strong sixth place finish. Man,
what a battle.
That was awesome battling, basically everywhere but the lead for the majority of that race. I mean, within the top 10, we had battles all night long.
Yeah, I feel bad for RC and David Tooker. You know, they led the race the whole time, and we didn't even show them that much because there was such great fights going on about the rest of the top 10.
Yeah, they didn't even get to play in a lot of that fun that was going on through the field. That was probably pretty boring from their perspective, but they missed out on a lot of fun throughout the field. But heck, R.C. Enerson ran an amazing race on that long run, and I'm sure when he practiced for this race, he didn't do what I did in practice for qualifying. He practiced for those 50-lap runs because that's exactly what we got is a pair of 45-lap runs through this race and only one caution flag.
He burns it down. It's a great run. Before we talk to our top 3, we'll go ahead and give a rundown of the results tonight.
Yeah, strong top 10 by Andrew Rucker. Brandon Key finishing 8th. Really made it work after that caution flag. Remember, he started 36th.
Yeah.
Don't forget about him being a really big mover, as well as Tate Lytle, who started 32nd to 2nd. Brandon Key from 36th to 8th. That was definitely a good run. And also, we have to do a paint scheme of the race. And if I had to give it to one, I think Brandon Key, I love that paint scheme he's got going on the 25.
I couldn't agree more. I know it's a replication of a real-life car, too, which makes it all the more special. We give
Yeah, the 25 car, good looking and finished well.
Yeah, and here's 11th through 20th. Jared Rexing, actually, he got close to the top 10 after all his struggles tonight.
Yeah, finished 12th, and definitely a good run there for Rexing after how it started. But we're going to bring up our race winner here, R.C. Enerson, in just a moment.
We round out our results here while we wait.
R.C. Enerson's Ryan Gavel up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, R.C., you put on quite the show there, by far having the best long-run car there in that first stint. Tell us about that first stint and how you made it work on the long run, because, man, I need to take some tips from you or something.
Yeah, I mean, normally I qualify really, really well, so I have the need to push really hard at the start and stay up front, where this one, I was, after doing a couple practice runs, I was like, I just didn't have the pace for pole, so I just made sure I put myself in around the top 10 area, and then I just sat and conserved tires. I was just lifting early, picking up the power so that the thing was rotating, and I mean, a couple of these guys were, I think they were saying that the right front was like at 6% or something like that, or 10%. I was still at 40 at the end of the first run just from saving. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, now when that first run was coming to an end, my expectation was everyone was going to pit right after the halfway, which is exactly when we saw the caution. A couple guys got caught out. But what was your plan on pit stops? Did you want to stretch it a little more? Were you going to pit maybe the lap after those guys right behind you came in? What was your exact plan there?
Yeah, I think no matter what, anywhere in the top 10, you're going to stretch it till the end of the fuel run, regardless of where your tires were at. I think we only had about 6 laps of fuel left. So, I mean, I just got there in time for the end of the stint. So I think I was a little over-conservative, and that's why it took me forever, where I learned that for the second run, where it was a little bit shorter run, I could push a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely a really strong run, though. Nevertheless, you got lucky with that caution as well. Came at perfect timing before anything went wrong with green flag pit stops. But first win of the season. You also got one in the Cup Series, but now you're locked into the chase here for the SMRI Productions Grand National Series. Next week we head to Road America road course. I know that's kind of up your sleeves there. You're good at those road courses. What are you thinking about next week?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to do a little bit of practice. I know there's a lot of long straightaways there, and I know Fodey's really quick on the road courses too. So I know it's gonna be a draft deal, so it's gonna be hard to break that. But I think just conserving tires on the road course and keeping my nose clean, making sure I'm not missing a break point, because these things are tanks, man.
Yeah, that's for sure. These things are heavy, and it takes a lot to wheel them around a track like that. I know for sure. And 32 laps may not seem like much, but it takes a while to get around that massive road course. But congratulations on the first win of the season. Is there anyone you want to thank or any shout-outs you want to make here before I let you go?
Yeah, obviously, you guys up here in the booth, and I know Chad puts on a good deal with Elite. Everybody can say what they want about it, but at the end of the day, it's the best place to be and the most competitive I've seen. And in Richmar Esports, I think we're like one of the only Ford teams, so bring one for the Mustangs. But I think I got to go back over to this to another race, so I've got to get tuned up for that.
Yeah, good luck with that, and congratulations on the win. All right, well, that was your winner, R.C. Enerson. I believe he's running Erska here coming up next. So these guys running these Monday night races have got a doubleheader on their hands just about every night if they run Erska. So it's quite a bit of racing. But we're going to move on now to our runner-up, which was the 56 of Tate Lytle. Tate Lytle, Ryan Gavely, got a copy?
Yeah, go for it, Campbell.
Well, Tate, you had yourself a really strong race. You had to start in the rear, didn't do so hot in qualifying, but you found yourself up in second place at the end. Is there anything more you could have done to steal that win?
Probably just waited a little bit longer to push. I was trying to save. I had given those guys like a half a second buffer. And then I think it was the 48 and 69 were hot on my tail there. So I was like, well, I'll try and push, put some distance between me and those guys, and hopefully RC burns his stuff off with Tucker right on his bumper. But RC did a really good job. And yeah, I don't know. If I could have saved a little bit longer, maybe, but still trying to pass a guy like RC probably wasn't going to happen unless we got another yellow.
Yeah, now if that race never had that one single yellow, or maybe if it happened at a different point, could that race have turned out any different, or do you think that RC had the speed on you either way?
Now that I know how good of a speed he had, I don't think I would have had anything for him. Probably would have been the same result. Because I was coming through the field pretty good, and I think me and RC were the only two still running into the 32s. They're the last 10 laps of that other run, so I don't know. It's hard to say.
So still a lot of racing left in this season. You're looking pretty strong on the point standing side of things, though. Definitely you have the speed to make it into the chase. What race are you looking forward to here in the coming future? Is it a road course, short track? The next mile and a half is until Texas. So what track is kind of looking good for you on the schedule coming up?
I'm trying not to look too far ahead on this one because Mondays I'm on the West Coast, so it starts at 4:30, and I don't know. 4:30 is a little too early with the long days and work. So when I can race, I will. Obviously, when I can't, I won't. So I probably won't be much for a championship threat in the Xfinity Series, but hopefully in the Wednesday Series, I can pull one out of the hat.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can see you out here on the track on Monday nights a few times, and maybe you can pull off a part-time win here at one point during the season, because we knew you had speed last season, and we know you can do it again here this season, and of course on Wednesday nights as well. But congratulations on the runner-up, and is there anyone you want to thank or any shout-outs you want to give here before I let you go?
Yeah, anybody listening, go check out Days Gone By on Twitter. He's got an Etsy shop going. I think 15% off the rest of the week, so go check that out. Got a lot of cool racing gear on there, and thank you for doing what you're doing, and Chad and all the other guys for making it happen.
Well, congratulations again on second, and hopefully we'll talk to you again here before the season's end.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, now we're going to move on to our third place finisher, Chris Wright. Chris Wright, Ryan Gavel up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Wright, you found yourself in position at the end, and definitely, in my opinion, and Jordan's as well, put on probably the best show throughout the field. I mean, you and Nick Massey and Tyler Fodey there at the end, too. you guys were side by side for what felt like the whole race. I mean, talk us through it.
I wish I'd have just laid off and sat there. So much fun though. Like I got pretty loose there, and I ran side by side with Fodey for a little bit, but Nick and I, like you said, that felt like 15 laps. And it was just, I was loose, he started getting loose. So much fun, man. It was so much fun to race that tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely fun watching you guys. It was crazy how you guys were switching from top to bottom and all over the place sliding around. It was definitely looked like a lot of fun out there. Is there anything you think you could have had for Tate and RC there at the end? I know you definitely had some speed, but on the long runs, RC and Tate were both really fast. Do you think you could have had anything if maybe a caution came out toward the end and you were all even on fresh tires with a quick shootout maybe?
It would have just taken the cars took off pretty loose, so fresh tires would have opened it up to a lot of guys, and it would have probably been a big wreck as well because we wouldn't have been lifting off of 2 and off of 4, and so I'm kind of glad it ended the way it did on one hand, but the race for the win, if a caution would have came out, would have been pretty cool too. But I see everybody talking about it on Twitter, the show me and Nick put on, so I'm glad everybody got their money's worth tonight.
Yeah, you definitely put on the best show of the race, and you've definitely had a strong start to the season here. So congrats on that 3rd place. Is there anybody you want to thank or any shout-outs you want to give here before I let you go?
Yeah, thanks to you guys at Elite and the league. I'm new to Elite, came over from Erska, and it's been so much fun running with these guys that I've not ran with before. And everybody at Ruthless and Nick and I are teammates. But Brandon finally shook the bad luck off tonight, and Jeff Green ended up finishing a little worse than he wanted to, but it was fun.
Yeah, definitely was a good race, and you put on probably the best show throughout the field. We enjoyed watching you. Congratulations on the good run, and now you find yourself 3rd in the point standing. So looking ahead to a good season and a really good start so far. So congratulations.
Thanks, and I can't forget Chairgating, the sponsor on the car, makes it happen. Everybody needs to tune into the podcast at Belly Up Sports.
Sounds good, and good run, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. All right, well, that's all. That was your top 3 finishers here tonight. And Jordan, do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. I think we just saw great, clean racing all the way throughout. I mean, these guys, you can tell, not just the top 5 or 10, but all the way through the field. Everyone's improving every week. I mean, this field's just so tight right now. It's really impressive to watch.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to next week, our first road course of the season at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That's definitely going to be a good race. 32 laps. The Whitetail Smokeless 130 is next Monday night, same time, same place here on the Elite Racing Network. We want to thank you all for tuning in. This was the 4th race of the 2021A SMRI Productions Grand National Series season. Race number 4 in the books. Heading to Road America next week ought to be a good one. This was the BYRD Las Vegas 150 presented by Timothy's Plan. And I want to thank you all for tuning in.